I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows, and I believe that somewhere in the darkest night, a candle glows. I believe for everyone who goes astray, someone will come, yeah, to show the way. I believe. All right, hello everyone. That was the immortal Jackie Wilson. You probably know him from Your Glove Is Lifting Me Higher and Higher, probably most famous song, or Lonely Teardrops. That was a bit of a ballad called I Believe, which is a good message for today, I think. All right, so today is the 9th. Had a little technical difficulties yesterday, so we didn't get the 8th in there, so that is what happens occasionally. But go ahead and do some birthdays from yesterday. I had to get a show for you, I promise. Let's see. All right, yesterday was Elena Ubato's birthday. Happy birthday, Elena. And today is Nicholas Truce's birthday. Happy birthday to you both. All right, what else happened today? Well, obviously Jackie Wilson's birthday. Back in 1772, y'all remember that year, something called the Gaspee Affair happened. Interesting little build up to the American Revolution. Remember, the American Revolution was a game of chicken where the British would do something, the Americans would get irritated and push back until it almost get to the brink of war, then the British would step back and play, and then it would happen over and over again until finally they shut down Boston Harbor after the Boston Tea Party. Well, this was before this. This is right after the Boston Massacre. As part of the Navigation Acts, which basically was a lot of this had to do with trade. There was a lot of like political representation, but when it came down to a lot of it was who controls taxation and things like that, and like how trade is going to be carried on, right? So the Navigation Act basically was an attempt by the British to enforce their tax laws. Part of the problem that led to the revolution is for the first 100 years of the colony's existence, the British had pretty much just left the colonies alone for the most part, but for about 100 years, the colonies could pretty much do what they wanted. And then the British had this idea that they were going to start enforcing taxation. And after letting the mice have the run of the house, or the cat's play, or the phrase is goes, at any rate, the Americans were when the cat's away, the mice will play. That's it. So the mice have been allowed to play for about 100 years, and then the cat came back mid 18th century and decided, hey, we're going to start enforcing these laws, and the mice did not like it. And so, as part of this Navigation Act, the British had basically had tax boats to go around and make sure that the Americans weren't smuggling. Smuggling was a long, familiar way to get around paying taxation. Well, the Gaspee was one of these boats, and it was chasing one of the smuggler boats who didn't want to pay the taxes, and the Gaspee ran aground. And the British commander decided, I'll wait till a high tide, and the boat will, be free. And there were some people, it was from Rhode Island, the little small state on the coast, right? They sailed out there not to miss a good opportunity to get rid of this boat who'd been harassing them, and they burned the boat down. And that's going to, as you might imagine, irritate the British too a little bit. Again, it's going to be one of these things that's going to keep going to the brink of war, keep back and back, keep going to the brink. And so Gaspee Affair, right off the coast of Newport, Rhode Island, burned the boat down. Let's see, what else we have. In 1954, there was a famous trial. A guy named Joseph McCarthy remember, this is in the middle of the Cold War. And McCarthy realized that, you know what? I can accuse people of being communists. Remember the Cold War, Soviet Union, communist, bad, American capitalist, good, and like they were fighting like cats and dogs, right? Well, McCarthy figured out a way to use fear to basically further his political career. So he started accusing people of being communists with little to no evidence, and it was working. People were really fearful that they were like, look at the bush over there. There's a communist waiting for you to take the country over, right? Because that's the way it was super tense. Then you add in nuclear weapons, and everyone was really on edge. And McCarthy was a senator from Wisconsin who was playing this up, and really, by accusing people of being communist, he was really becoming very well known and headed towards possibly being president or something. Well, finally, people started pushing back, and then in probably one of his one of McCarthy's downfalls, he started saying there were a bunch of communists that had infiltrated the U.S. military, and this is going to lead to a Senate hearing. And there was a famous point at during this hearing that one of the Army, remember, he was accusing Army people who'd signed up for the Army of being communists. He was saying they're communists all up and down the Army, right? And so the lawyer stood up and said, this is a real famous moment. He said, and this is all on TV and people are watching this, right? So this is like, a real big trial. This was kind of like, it was on the news every day. Everyone was paying attention because everyone was like, oh my goodness, there's communists everywhere. And it was the Cold War and everyone was scared, right? So the lawyer sat up and said, you've done enough. Have you no sense of decency, sir, at long last? Have you left no sense of decency? And then basically the lawyer said, I'm out of here. I'm done. Call your next witness. And it was kind of a turning point because it really showed like, there's probably not a whole lot of merit to McCarthy's terms or to his accusations. And here you have, some, loyal American soldiers standing up to him. And you saw McCarthy's popularity really sink after this. Eisenhower stepped in and said, okay, we got to call this off. And so it was kind of the beginning of the end for Justin McCarthy. But that little speech happened today on this day in 1954 when someone was like, okay, stop with your conspiracy theories. Stop just accusing everyone for your own political gain. And he stood up, and it led to the downfall of Justin McCarthy. He was going to be out of the Senate within a couple of years after that. And you saw his rankings really plummet. So Cold War, you see, I keep going back to that because, remember, the important stuff about studying history is how does our history, there's a lot of important things, but in my mind, how does it reflect what is happening today, and how did it help explain what happened today? And so the Cold War really is going to, continue up until the, almost 1990, and still has an influence on our civilization today, and a lot of our relationship with Russia and places like that. So, Justin McCarthy, 1954. All right, we're going to close on the four-way test. The four-way test are the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Again, there's no virtue this month because it's summer, but know that I'm missing you. Know I hope you're taking care of each other. Hope you're taking care of your family. Hope you're getting outside. It's really ridiculous hot now, so early in the morning, late afternoon, wash your hands, read, laugh, have fun, play a game, and know that I'm missing you. Can't wait to see you. All right, bye, guys.